Okay, peace to the viewers. Peace to the viewers. Let's get right to it. Let's get right to it. So, okay, for those who don't know, I'm Akil Bay, right? Uh, so I'm gonna start off by sharing. Well, I'm gonna start by saying this. This video is to basically describe A to Z two different, well, actually a few different lanes, but primarily two. And well, two is few, but we're gonna talk about two different lanes primarily, but we also gonna talk about this one other lane that I'm gonna mention, and I'll break it down, just so we can have clarification of all ways of so-called proclaiming nationality versus the actual way of proclaiming nationality. Because we talking about we gonna get into that. So these first umpteen pictures, for most part, is gonna be explaining this one type of avenue. While the last few pictures, these last two pictures, are going to be solely for statehood government, Moroccan government. So let's just start with the basics, right? This one path that I'm about to go into right here, for the most part, I call personally the middle path or the mid-heaven. So let me just start from the bottom, under that, right? Some more started off by going online, right, to websites like RV Bay Publications or some Moorish Consulate website or something like that, and printed off papers, right? Printed off your judicial notice and the name change and get the nationality ID. A lot of us went through that, right? Not everybody, but a lot of us went through that. That is the way of going. Let me tell you what this does. By just simply printing papers off, right, and sending them in to United Nations and sending them in to the United States. First of all, United Nations only talks to states. You can't go to court. They talk to organizations. I'll take that back, but you cannot go to court, take anybody to court as an individual. Just because you have a state of mind, don't mean you have an actual state government, which is 3 branches of government. You can't be all those positions, right? So when people are sending off those judicial notices they print off online and don't have an actual government to be a judge of who is elected, who went through the proper concepts, who in our treaties there are instructions for us. So there's many. I don't even want to address that avenue too much because a lot of us kind of surpass that standpoint. So obviously that is not the way to learn government, just by printing papers off and assuming just because you're more by blood that you're more by political status, because you got to make heaven and earth connect. So this is all about status, state. So this mid heaven, I called that last point I just went over the bottom, right? That's the kephara, if you will. This middle part, a lot of people found hope in, a lot of people found success in, right? Individual success, right? This process, why I call it the mid heaven, is because a lot of people got small victories. They had lawsuits, right, based on this setup I'm about to go through. But I crossed some things out, right, just because I don't want people seeing the instructions on the screen, and just because the instructions on the screen, to go put themselves in the United States of America government when that's not a Moroccan government. Just because the instructions on the screen, when we should actually be starting Moroccan governments that's sovereign and independent, like not needing to go through the United States for anything at all, sovereign and independent. And we work our way up the ladder as to how that reality is. We got to start somewhere, right? So this due process of law, right? We got to follow due process of law step by step at a time, learn government as that reality happens, right? So let's just start back here. This so-called mid heaven, because we can't rush everything. Think that everything is gonna just fall in our laps just as soon as we create a state government. Think that you can just go ask. No, it's a due process to everything. So let's start here. So this book is called The Book, Volume 1. And it's by a good brother named Q&L. And he's a good dude, good-hearted dude, right? I came across this book when I was in this certain mentality step, this certain state. But this whole state, this mid-heaven, is a stepping stone. Everything is just a stepping stone. What Noble Drew Ali did, a stepping stone, right? And let's just talk about that for a second, because it's in the same type of context. Is what I'm about to explain. Noble Drew Ali incorporated the Moorish Science Temple of America in the United States, right? That's obviously not. It's a theocratical government, but when we learn government from the European, we don't say things like, you know, uh, Mauritania or any other theocratic government. We talking about the Europeans. How do they learn? How do they talk about government? How do we learn government from them? We're talking about statehood. We're talking about three branches of government. We're talking about et cetera, right? So learning government from the Europeans, Noble Drew Ali established a theocratical government in the United States, right? Why did he do this, knowing that we obviously needed our own? Because at the time, you got to remember, he brought us everything and the half has not been told. So which one is it? You got to think about everything. At the time, he had incorporated, right, Moorish Science Temple of America in the United States. When he came around on the scene around 1913, right, doing his thing, what happened around 1913? The Treaty of Fez in 1912. What was the Treaty of Fez? France had protectorate. They became protectorates over Morocco, over Moroccan affairs. So they were their power. They were their power of attorney, right? Because the empire was falling. So France put United States on notice, right? It said, "Look, all them people you got, who you overseeing right now, you need to, give it up, give it up." So basically, how things are to be, how it is today, how we under the United States, all this type of stuff, it's supposed to be backwards, but unlawful things are happening, right? So France basically working on the outside, Noble Drew Ali working on the inside, saying that the least we can do is begin to learn business so we can be industrious. The least we can do, because if I try to teach y'all government or try to teach the things that I'm really studying on behind the scenes with these other nations, y'all gonna fall asleep because y'all not ready for that. Plus other type of stuff that this is a man who took trips to other countries, other continents, and seen other valuable people, met with other valuable people, did other things of certain frequencies to get things done on the inside. But again, he brought us everything, meaning he brought us everything we needed to work with, in a sense, everything that he could. While international law, or France, who has a good say so in international law right now, they were working on the outside, as you see the France versus United States of America case on behalf of more subjects, and they was calling the United States out. So they was working on the outside. Who else is doing this for us, right? So if the half has not been told, what is this other half? Because you don't hear a lot of more scientific Americans talking about France versus United States of America case or any of the treaties on behalf of what our instructions are, like the Act of Algeciras, right? which says each state needed it. And we're gonna talk about that because I got that picture in here, but we're gonna talk about that. 'Cause a lot of people say, did the Moorish Empire have state governments? And yes, it did. But we're gonna talk about that after a certain time. So again, this picture is the cover of the book from Q&L, right? Oh, and let me start off. I know I got a lot of things to say, but before I turn to this next page, I'm gonna start off by saying this. That little phase, that avenue of just printing stuff off a website and sending stuff in, that's the actual worst way to do anything. Because what you really doing is saying, I don't want to see this straw man, and I just want you to respect what I say and respect these paperworks I'm sending in without a government. So you getting rid of your way of doing business with anybody, your straw man, how the world sees you, even though it's unlawful, right? And you don't even have a government. So you basically stateless as hell. You stateless and unidentified. You can't nobody identify you by this so-called alias. Because what you're trying to do is get rid of all that made you, in a sense, in one system, which is this straw man. You trying to get rid of all that, and then you trying to uplift the Moroccan government, which you can't tie yourself back to. So you just out here naked. So that's the actual worst way, because that's when more start to just riding around with plates, not registered nowhere, not registered with nothing, not even the Moroccan government, not even the United States government. They just start riding around with stuff. They just start doing stuff. Send paperwork in. They never got a notice. They just because it's acquiesced, now it makes it law. I'm good. I'm good. And then they get in. They go sell the nationality card, right? It might work 2 or 3 times, but after that 2 or 3 times, you realize it was 2 or 3 out of 10, and that shit was only 20-30% of the time working. So something ain't right, right? So it worked till it don't work no more. So that's the actual lowest phase. While this phase, why I call it the mid-heaven, is because it's 2 phases of this. Remember, this is not the right way to do this. This is not how you proclaim nationality. Why? Because it does not say anywhere in Moroccan law to do any of this. So what is this way I'm about to explain to you? When Noble Drew Ali said, selling yourself into slavery. The United States of America is the oppressor's system, right? That's the oppressor's system. Why? How do we know this? Moors and Americans. That's what the treaty between. So who is your so-called colonists? The Americans, United States of America, right? So is this Morocco or America? We know the Americans are colonists. Well, they have a certain limited jurisdiction on our landmass, which is on the east side. A limited jurisdiction under our Moroccan government. So that means this landmass is holistically, truthfully, in fact, and in truth, Morocco. While when the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was established, they were on the east side, the 13 colonies, right? But now they're known as all over the land. So whoa. It's too many loopholes. For more, is America just 13 colonies? They now the whole land now just because they say that? Just because they say that? Or can we just retrack history and be like, okay, the Moroccan Empire means this is Morocco. The Moroccan Empire doesn't mean this is America. It's the Moroccan Empire, right? So this way is actually, this mid-heaven way is actually better than doing the RV bait publications and just going to a website and just print stuff off and you ain't got nothing to protect you now. But again, it is selling yourself into slavery. So if you be careful what you're doing, it's better. I wouldn't say it's holistically selling yourself into slavery because it's teaching you how to do business with the learn business, learn economics, learn civics, civics. So you can, it's a certain way you can do things because everything you got to remember, they're a corporation. So this step is, again, it's not the right way, and you shouldn't waste your time on it at all, especially if you know the easier steps is actually statehood. When you got nothing but support around you, it's more state governments that will literally give you the answers, all the steps, the 7 steps, what to do right now. Boom. All you got to do is find people, at least 2 other people in your so-called state that's with it. Because the problem is not knowledge. It's knowledge, but we gotta. It's really the confidence. The knowledge is already there. It's really the uncluttering of the knowledge and matching it with our will. It's our confidence is really it's gonna come with the knowledge, of course, but the knowledge is just gonna be put in front of your face. Like you're gonna have time for that. Everybody knows we're a growing state government, so there are certain ways that you can set up provisions and operate as a state government with just, let's say you have 3 people, 4 people. Okay, obviously that don't mean that you have a military and all this type of stuff yet, but that's why due process of law. That's why the United Nations knows that whatever you say, whatever if you say you have a permanent population and you send they know exactly what you tell them as long as everything is true. So as far as like a state government and it's a due process of law. And it's more just you understanding how that everything is really on your side. Allah is protecting you through all this, so it's not a rush. It's like as long as you say that you know who you are and you feel that you're ready, you will have nothing but support. You will have nothing but protection. You only have to walk around with a pocket knife, right? So it's really about the confidence, really. Um, so getting into this book, right? And again, please don't do none of these steps. This is I'm just using this for measurement, proper measurement. Okay. So this book explains step number 1, which a lot of people would do the name change, right? In which we're supposed to do a name change in our own Moroccan government, right? Establish that. Everything you see in they shit, boom, ours, under ours, right? So this name change, instead of name change in the United States of America government, United States, whatever you want to say, the United States operating as the United States of America in international law, whatever you want to say, but they're operating as United States with you on this land. So they two-faced. So, but the only people that can do something about it, the United Nations can only do so much. The people in-house with the actual problem can, that's where that's the only source, that's the only cure, right? So France took United States of America to court. They had only did so much. You see, they still here, right? At the end of the day, in that case, they said, well, they need a Moroccan government. That's the only answer. So this name change in the United States, the oppressor system, right? This is the mid-heaven. This is where you learn government, right? Now, keep in mind that when you have changed your name in their system, the only thing you've done is update the straw man. You have not truly proclaimed nationality, because we're gonna get to where it actually says the instructions on how Moor proclaims the nationality in a Moroccan treaty, which is the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15. But and we're gonna get in because there was a lot of dirty play with that specific article. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later. So this name change, right? If you all you doing is updating the straw man in their system, that's all they work there. It's a corporation. Nobody is in the actual seats of United States of America. Nobody. They all took an oath to the United States. So therefore, everything is unlawful. Supreme Court, all these documents from the so-called United States hold no weight. Everything is a corporation. Supreme Court is a corporation. Everything, all they got is imaginary. Wizard of Oz. Everything is not real. So to correct your status in their system is how real is it if everything they have is a corporation, right? So nobody is in the seats of the United States of America. We know that because look at it. The Republic ain't even there. Look at it, right? So, and just think about this. Even in the Constitution of the United States of America, more say democracy is not in the Constitution of the United States of America. So how could you exercise democracy, right? Well, neither is the term Moorish American. That's not in any treaty at all. Literally, Moorish dash American. That one term you cannot find in the treaty. Where you will see it is the Moroccan dash American, or what's called the Treaty of Amity and Commerce. So if you try to take the title and say, yeah, the title is me, I'm Moroccan dash American, which is also the Treaty of Amity and Commerce. That's what you're saying. You the Treaty of Amity and Commerce as a person. So you're trying to describe two jurisdictions: American jurisdiction, their limited jurisdiction, and Morocco, this jurisdiction. You both. So it don't even matter. France and could have a treaty with Germany and they Franco Germany and you could just be Franco German, huh? You could be anything you want to. Huh? African American, I guess that can be a thing too. Huh? So we gotta stop the silly games. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stop silly games. So name change. Again, even though this is just updating the straw man, what's truly gonna have to happen, and why I call this a mid heaven, is that once you update the name change in their system, you're gonna have to change your name again when you create a state government, because all you did was update the straw man. You got to separate yourself from that when all you did was update it, because what their laws said instead of what Moroccan laws and treaties said. We had a Moroccan government for so long. You think the only treaty we have, a treaty peace friendship? You think that's all of our instructions? That's all our laws right there, right? So, and I'm not really talking to y'all like at this energy. You know what I'm saying? It's really to the people that's gonna be looking at it with the Moorish American mindset, because I had a hell of a week with these people, with these brothers and sisters. I don't want to say these people like they so different, but at the same time, it's gonna get real ugly. I will say that once things really start to bloom, once United States of America is taken to court, once only certain state government names on that document, once the United Nations says so much, once they're forcing the United States of America to do so much, and only so many people, Moors and these other places that don't have a state government in their so-called state, right? So if you're in Ohio, right, or if you're in Wisconsin, or if you're in wherever this don't have a state, by the time things take off, right, you're gonna be the Moor in that territory that doesn't get to experience human rights, because things have to bloom according to due process. What's going to happen is only those state governments, those Moorish state governments, the Moors there who are operating through that Moorish state government itself, will be able to experience human rights. So then it's going to be long lines drawn, because once we start enacting things, people are going to start realizing, yo, why can they do this and we can't? Yo, I'm starting to see they ain't got nothing but success, and yo, we still having trouble. We can only do so much over here. Yo, I'm starting to see they enacted this and smoking weed or that whatever pain point. It's like, oh, whoa, what's going on? They already took them to court. Things already being enforced. What's going on? It's gonna be a pinnacle, just like Noble Drew Ali said, and that's just the actual facts. This is what's going to happen. I'm not trying to be a prophet or anything, but come on now. A lot of these Moors want to take the United States to the courts by themselves. They're partially there. They're partially there. So again, this name change. You see the information on the screen. I'm not gonna read all of it, but it gives you directions as to do it. I wouldn't suggest you do it, but I would say it is better than just printing shit off. The easiest way is state government. Because literally, if I'm telling you that I have the easiest steps, and you got to go to this loophole with the United States, this loophole, you got to do this trust, this will, do so many loopholes. Try to figure out they governments, they laws, they trying to constantly change. So you trying to stay in a hamster wheel. Like you're gonna have to keep up with them so much instead of making things so simple and way more effective. On top of that, you're gonna have to do everything all over if you ever try to get into a state government. So you're really stressing yourself out at the end of the day. So don't just think that just because this stuff is on the screen, it's the answer. No, just use it as a measurement. Cause I even black some stuff out so people can't get it. You know what I mean? Because I refuse to just be trying to put energy into somebody else's government. But use this as a measurement because due process of the law, anything, right? How can we enforce a government shouldn't be working for the United States of America, right? Well, until the moment you send your state government stuff in, your state government, your Circle 7 state of facts, so called, right? Which is the outline of the instructions that you have to send in, so many things that you have to do. You send that in, you work your way into only working for the state government, due process of law, things that don't happen overnight, right? So you got to realize when the plateau tilts, or when it really is time to work on that platform until you work your way through process of law to the next frequency, which comes fast. So you see the information, right? And this is also again in this book, which is a good book. It has some history in it too. But take it with a grain of salt from a good brother, good dude, good heart. Still, it's a stepping stone. You know, you see he has his name change information. And what he did is different for every so-called state, right? Then you have authenticating the birth certificate, which you see I attempted to black it out, but actually I'm gonna just boop, boop. So authenticating the birth certificate, basically, uh, that page again. And I'm just using these. Just pause if you want to ever go back on this video and be like that if you wanted it that bad. But I'm using these as a measurement because the second step after the name change is authentication of the birth certificate. Why? Now a lot of Moors used to have, oh, it's not ours. How can we authenticate something that's not ours? That's very true. That's very true. At the same time, what's to happen? I'm speaking if I'm somebody that's trying to do this, right? Because I'm about to explain statehood is the ultimate truth. I'm gonna keep repeating that so can't nobody flip and chop this video up and try to say, hey, he said it here and not here or whatever. But because that's how people work. That's the highest tier they got. That's crazy. So this second step, authenticating the birth certificate, is the second step. They say you can't authenticate something that's not yours. Again, very true. But what happens is you become what's called the holder in due course in their system, not in truth, not because Moroccan law told you so, because the opposer system told you so. They set that up so you can keep thinking that you got success, right? Give some victories out, get a little platform, but guess what? A corporation and a corporation, and you just really putting them in their place. You saying, hey, you're a corporation, and I'm doing the business as a corporation or as an organization, right? Well, we're gonna grow into that. We're gonna talk about that later because this is not you doing business as an organization. But once you become the holder in due course, aka authenticate the birth certificate properly, so called, you become the holder in due course. The birth certificate is the actual United States citizen itself. Okay. At birth, that's what sent it off. Boom. They can't go no deeper. They can't go into the spiritual realm. They only got 9/10. They can only do so much. So at birth, boom, they took everything. And as soon as Allah did 50%, the other 50%, you was ready for life. They was ready for you. Say boom, birth certificate, social security, this, that, boom, boom, set them up, right? So this birth certificate is the actual United States citizen. First off, boom, that's what it's all based on, from the ground up, right? Because even a social security number came later. Birth certificate come first, so called. So Moors do certificate of live birth, right? In which it's a certain process that you do that, right? And again, I'm not about to go into all these processes and just to give Moors the will to do that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, take these measurements as take these measures as is. Because ain't no other Moor just explaining these other processes for freely. You know, most Moors A through Z, a book that cost me personally $120. You know what I'm saying? Like this, a lot of Moors ain't even doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm only doing this stuff so we can just kill this noise, this mid-heaven noise, and just get the state because the instructions are even simpler there. So um, as you can see, step 2, right, was authenticate the birth certificate. Okay, but that's not all. Third step would be what? Now you are ready for the second authentication, which will be done at a federal level. And I'm reading step 3, right, where it says. So you would then go through a process where you got to send it to this person, you got to send it to this program, you got to send it, get their approval, you got to get it stamped, get it recognized, instead of just telling them that's who you are. Because as a state government, that's what you do. You elect yourself by saying, I'm a Moor. Okay, you declared it. Now you got to put it on paper by way of the pen properly, right? So when you proclaim nationality or publish it, right? So you declare it and you publish it, you proclaim nationality the right way. But if you're having to get permit when you proclaim nationality the right way, statehood, right? What happens? The whole actual truthful process. Even the United Nations tell you themselves, which is a group that governs modern international law. They tell you that even before you send these documents in, the people who make up the state is the actual state itself. The state never dies. The state never dies. Remember, that's the state of mind. That's half the party. We just forgot the law, the pen. So this is why more say, I'm Moor by blood. I can just do what I want. No, 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 no. That's half the story. Okay, that half the part, of course, it never dies. Of course, our spirit that never dies. Right? That thing, energy, it doesn't die. It just okay. So that part never dies. But bringing this shit to heaven or earth, excuse me, right? Manifesting an actual state. I'm just saying you got a state. I'm not just saying abstract. No, I'm talking about a state, a government. We just been not seeing that its consciousness has been hiding itself from consciousness, pretty much. It's been hiding itself from itself. More been saying the answer and doing the wrong stuff. So, you know, when you proclaim nationality the right way, what happens is you elect yourself, right? Which is spiritual, electrons and all that type of stuff, ideas and all this type of stuff, right? The light bulb, all that. Then you elect each other. You recognize each other. You don't need to be recognized by anybody else. What people need to do is acknowledge you, and that's what the United States or United Nations, excuse me, say they do. They say we don't have to, we can't recognize you, but we can acknowledge and accept your credentials. That's what they say. So when we talk about getting their permission or trying to be, recognized by them, no. We just tell them who we are and putting them on notice. As long as we showing them that we following the laws according to our own Moroccan treaties, what's the problem? Because that's what international law is, just to make sure everybody's following their own treaties. That's all it is, literally. So proclaiming nationality, you elect yourself, elect each other, and you tell the United Nations and the United States, right? Put both of them on notice. Dealing with international law, the highest law of the land, which is right under the spirituality, right? Dealing with the highest tiers of both sides, divine and national, because you're a national of a Moroccan government, right? Not a U.S. national, not a national of somebody else's government. That's a different type of national. That's not a Moroccan national. That's not a Moorish national. You're not seen as a national in international law. Only in their system are you seen as a Moorish American national or a man, as they say. So these measurements are only telling you how far you can go with all this stuff. Because again, you see step 4. It says having an affidavit of reversion of state of facts is an accepted and lawful practice. This is especially necessary if the title you are leaving authenticated. Da 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 da. So you got to send us an affidavit to the state of this, the Department of State, the Secretary of State of this state. Deal with all these other departments, going through the loopholes, trying to make sure they notice, getting things stamped from them, getting their approval, permission to use their passports, permission to use their IDs, permission to use their driver's license plates, their license plate, excuse me, because you ain't got your own. Permission to, and even if you got your own, you still doing permission to do business as an organization in their government. Permission to use a IEIN. Permission to, to use this trust that you establish in their government. Permission from their mayor that said you're a Moorish American national, but you still can't exercise human rights. Permission, it's all this stuff. This sound half-assed. So, of course, it can bring independent victories. Of course, you can help people better than before. Because all Moors was doing at first was printing stuff offline, fucking themselves up in every which way, physically and spiritual. Now you got a mid-haven to where say, we ain't gonna fuck you up physically, but spiritually, we about to put you in some shit because you ain't gonna be connected with Allah still. You think you're protected, but this is where the trick bags at. These are what a lot of the trick bags at. But so like I said, you can still move around culture and life, stuff like that, but you can never uplift the nation because again, you had to study U.S. laws. How you gonna? What's the law? What's the answers to starting a government according to the United States codes and shit, ordinances, regulations? What's the answer to that? They don't have an answer. Why would they give you that? They would never do that. Why would they give you that? Why would you expect that? You know what I'm saying? So to make it more clear, they'll never, because some people get too technical, they'll never to give you an answer to start a state government, which is a political government and the only government that's needed in international law. What's the theocratic government? How we used to operate as a Moroccan government, Moroccan empire, where things used to get passed down to sons and shit like that. No 3 branches of government, shit like that. Government was still set up differently, right? But for the most part, you know, the Moroccan Empire for a long period of time did not. I'm gonna actually make a video over the history of how the international law began, really, because truthfully, I ain't even gonna get into that. It'll just make us weird to something else I'm trying not to get into right now. But so as you see on the screen, here's his paperwork, right? In which this is a good brother because he showed and proved, and this brought people safety, security to some sort. At least you can like this mid-heaven way is the way of you can knock off warrants and stuff like that because all they is the corporation anyway. So that's why you really get remedy. It's not because this is an actual government. The United States of America, nobody's in that seat. Moorish Empire, the Moroccan Empire, our government failed. So all you're doing is working corporation to corporation. The corporation can never take over the land lawfully and surely. So all y'all doing is really just talking corporation to corporation on that level. And nobody on either side is operating on the actual government, state government. But then on the international level, the United States of America is acknowledged because with the past and how they were operating in the United States of America at one point. But and the United States of America is actually a powerhouse in the United Nations. But those other nations know that they're operating as the United States. But the only thing and the only people that can do something about it is the Moors that gave them this power in the first place. The only way we can go to the source is going to the source. When two Moroccan governments, or two governments will say, look, treaty in peace and friendship, this is what it is. Boom. Right? But even then, they were British subjects at the time. Didn't they run off? So are they really lawfully and surely at the time of the treaty of peace and friendship? How much weight does that have? Well, we got to keep going back to sources and sources. What is this going to do? Going to cause us to learn government that much more. What is this going to do? Well, it's going to cause us to teach all the worlds. Because guess what? Or all the nations, excuse me, because states, which are countries, states, what we call states are countries. We on a continent, right? The state, your state government, our state government is Meru, right? Meru is the name of the country. The name of our government is Moorish State Republic, just like France. France is the name of the country. The name of their government is French Republic, right? So what are they? Frenchmen. What are they? They got all these other names. They got Huguenots, in which people even got to understand when they talking about the Indians. You know, there's a lot of people that's stuck on that to where it's like, and it's fine. What's happening is basically the people who say Indians is, you know, I'm not a Moor and all that type of stuff, right? Some of them even understand that they're Moors, but a lot of them say, I'm not a Moor, right? What they got to understand is that it's okay to have tribes and clans. But at each and every point in time, this land was governed by Moors, okay? Within this empire, right? When the Moroccan Empire, remember Granada and all this stuff fell in 1492 and all this type of stuff, Moroccan, however long you believe the Moroccan Empire lasted, and based on all these documents, going back to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1787, so the so-called Indians back then knew they was in motherfucking Morocco somehow, some way, meaning that your nationality is your person, is your nationality, but your ethnicity, your tribes, and all this type of stuff can have different identities, but they all have to coincide to this one unwavering point, which is the people who run in this land. You can, you know, create tribes and etc. and new tribes or whatever, you know, but it all has to be subordinate, just like a theocratical government is subordinate because they're incorporated in the United States. They gotta follow United States laws, codes, etc. That's why they consistently use them and stuff like that. They're incorporated in their government, meaning they can only do so much. They can't enforce the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in the more scientific America as an organization in anybody's government, somebody else's government. Only the state government can enforce treaties. Only states can't interfere with states, but they don't say you can't interfere with theocratical governments and stuff. States cannot interfere with other states, right? Just look at the Constitution. How many times they say the Constitution for the United States of America? How many times they say states? Look at that, right? Even though that's not our Constitution, they'd be trying to uplift. Every government has a constitution for themselves, so they can enact laws on how they should be treated. So if you want somebody to treat you a certain way, then write it down on paper. Don't try to tell them about they shit, something they need to be doing. No, you just write it on paper, and when you write it on paper, you make sure you're doing it the right way. Period. Put them on notice. Period. Tell them you're sovereign and independent. Period. You ain't got to be a part of them. Period. Why would you amalgamate with them? Period. You see, like what is a part of being Moorish American? That's amalgamation. The treaty between Moors and Americans, you just amalgamate it. That's an amalgamated term. So, again, this talks about this page here talks about the authenticated title, and more about the birth certificate. And y'all probably can see that. I've been on that page. Enough. Certificate of live birth. This was he sent in. Skip past that. Skip past this. Office of Secretary of State. Again, it says United States of America. Now, again, these people are pretending to be operating as the United, because if we've seen them take their oaths in their inauguration to the United States, but they send you documents saying this is the United States of America. The trick bag is they can't truthfully work with you how you think they can. It's trick bag after trick. Why don't none of this make sense? If you know that they're a corporation, holistically, and then they send you a document like this, right, saying, damn, he caught us. Now he's a part of the United States of America. Guess what? He ain't that either. His government was part of the Moorish Empire. I don't see more on this paper. I don't see more in this title. It says United States of America. I don't see that. And then the next thing people say, well, Mur is more. And then, they bring out their own opinions. I say, okay, well, ain't treaty supreme law of the land? Not your opinion, not this book, wherever you got it from, not this U.S. document, which is obviously a corporation. I don't care what document it is. You can't just say etymology, and then you hear so much stuff from everybody else. Like, okay, which one of y'all, even though it is right? And let's even talk about that, because when you even look up the etymological background of America, right? It's two things in this title that people actually is really United States of America. The whole thing is really like United. Really is trying to get everybody to take on the title of America, right? States, they trying to act like their actual state. They operate as a corporation. They're not a de jure state. But at this time, they were. At the time when they was established, 1787, right? That time they was seen as, but even then, remember, we were dependent on good faith at the time. We didn't have TVs and stuff. We didn't know, as far as them running off with the sack, as far as being under the British Empire, right? They unlawfully did that. So when did they become sovereigns enough to just Constitution out of nowhere? Ooh, yeah, we the Americans now. Whoa, let's go back to the source, baby. We got a lot of loopholes to go through if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? But we got to focus on us first to do that. So they got united, they got states of, we already know the science of that. The United States is of America. So this corporation is of the United States of America or of America. We already know that, right? So of, like the Moorish Science Temple of America. And then the Holy Temple of Science. And then we have documents as far as, because only thing you can do is use what Noble Drew Ali brought you. Like there's nothing, it's a lot of he say, she say. That's all it is he say, she say when you try to study the prophet for the most part. It's a lot of things you can bring up for the facts. When you talk about, he did this, he did that. It's two things that says, it's two 101s I see. One say, Holy Science Temple, right? The Temple of Holy Science, or excuse me, the what is it? Some I don't even forgot. I said it so much, forgot. Then one say Moorish Science Temple of America, but this says United States of America, and more say, well, the United States is of America, and the Moorish Science Temple of America, and then Holy Temple of Science, right? The Holy Temple of Science. So it's a lot of he say she say as far as what is right. Well, let's just use the law, the treaties, something that came before the Noble Drew Ali, right? Even though Noble Drew Ali redeemed us as to this more word, before him, somebody could do at least something, right? Somebody can do something. So what he do? He brought you everything and then said the half has not been told. I brought you the tools. You got to build the house. Now he said, look, Dad came on the scene, but Dad ain't gonna be doing the work. Dad is about to go on the soul plane because that's where things will be better. Type of effect. So you gotta remember the prophet, the spirit. This is the frequency is always coming back to here, to Morocco. Always. That's why government elsewhere it veered off to look like it's over here in so-called America. But the frequency established itself back here, and that's where it's going to build itself from. Even when you read the Rudder and Sextant, the head of that government is the prophet. So if he establishes himself as the prophet, as the frequency, he's telling you, okay, the Moors to say state of mind, I'm at least correct half of this, and then I'm gonna go on the soul plane. Then what happened? He said that before he transitioned, he said that Moors down the line, 3-4 generations, they'll get it. Right? The other half that wasn't told, right? They'll get it. I brought you everything, but they'll get this other half though. Make it make sense. Did he bring everything or not? Because if he brought everything, that means he said, when he said the half has been told, what does that mean? The half has not been told. So that means he didn't tell you everything. He brought you everything and didn't tell you something about it. Make it make sense. You see? So the other half is international law, in which that you won't find Noble Drew Ali's name in these treaties. And people just think that you downplaying Noble Drew Ali and you're not following his footsteps just because you're not seeing his name pop up. And oh, it's not what the prophet said. Of course, it's not what the prophet said. He wasn't alive during these treaties. I mean, 1906, the act about the serious year. The 1880 Treaty of Madrid, prophet was born in 1886. Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? So, prophet's laws only extend to the people in the temple, the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's what he created. Those are not state laws for the people in that state, or AKA country. Man, when we say state, we say country. So you're talking about laws for people in a country or that state. Well, you need state laws. It's laws for that country, not theocratic. Talking about religious, right? Theology, theocratic, shrouded around religion, like Noble Drew Ali said, right? So this United States of America title, let's just talk about this just a second more, because I'm hitting all points. I ain't leaving nothing. At least for this video, because I still got so much to say. But well, America was ours. Yes, it was ours. Yes, it was a term that Al-Marak, Amuruk, Amaru, Amerik, Tamarik, Tamaru, I don't like whatever. Who was the first ones to use it in law? Not us. Not us. You know who helped them? Moors, dirty Moors. They said, look, use this state word. And this term America is very, very, very popular and close to how things used to be, right? Things transition. Al-Marak. You know how Moors take that term? Oh, that means America. You cross out the L and cross out this, and You see how you can see America in this if you just take out the vowels and add the vowels and it gets America. So they get Al Morocco or Al Morocco and take that and boom, America. When it literally says Al Morocco, Morocco. So the Morocco, Al means the, right? Al also, well, we'll talk about that another time. But so basically, you're talking about Morocco. Al Maroc, ALMAROC, and Al Morocco, AL in Morocco, how it's spelled, MOROCCO, is Morocco. Americanos Estados, what is that? American states. Maricanos, American, Marican, Al Maricanos Estados, the states, states, American states. That's America. That is not Morocco. Moorish try to say, yeah, this is our government. It says Al Maricanos Estados, and just because it's in Latin, it's like, oh, yeah, it was Moorish Latin. And we saying American states because we're the true Americans. And this is the thing. Yes, we are true Americans in half. Again, the dirty Moors knew what to show the brutish Moors, what to do. Say, hey, this American word. It's very close in a lot of ways to this Morocco. States is very close. Even though, so we can come off and seem like states because just the title alone say states. You would think they states, the United States. So it's hard to prove that they're not states if they're saying they states. Trick bags. Then they say of America. Well, they knew they was gonna make United States a corporation under America. Because what they do as soon as the Treaty of Peace and Friendship happened, they start doing bullshit. So they knew they was gonna be up to bullshit. But this is high tier, so-called high tier Freemasonry. Everything's exposed. It's not a fucking secret left on this earth. Nothing. Nothing. As soon as the first Moorish State government came online, that was introducing another frequency on this earth. That was grounding another earth. A lot of so-called deity people like to say goddess is a goddess, or all that type of stuff. But it's time to make the abstract shit bring to the forefront. Like people just talk about that spiritual stuff, like just depend on spirituality and the gods and goddesses and this little altar. It's like, look, your ass gonna be looking just like them Buddhist monks who got ran up in. Now they got put in the same predicament as we in. Talking about they was the most spiritual people on the planet. Talking about rainbow bodies and transforming the physical body and all this type of stuff. Look what happened to them. Boop. Give me your status. That spiritual shit can catch you while you meditate. That's what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? So it's a time where, and that's a spiritual reason. Certain things close. Ancestors so-called dip out on you because you stop doing your job. Stop being gods, the means of the earth, right? Or the governors of the earth, excuse me. So, update the Social Security. Boom. I'm gonna skip past that because, again, I don't want to. But you've seen that updating the Social Security, right? Is the third step. Again, you can screenshot if you want. That's on you. But I'm trying to tell you, putting some energy in somebody else's government, then just remember that you may be doing it. I would say this: if you can't find two other people, like if you started off by yourself, kind of like, when I came across this information, I was like, damn, I gotta find some people, because I asked, AMPAC, I said, how many people in this territory own it? They said, well, you the first one. So I said, okay, well, I can at least find two people. Now we're a growing government with more than two people. So a lot of this stuff is really for the people who don't even never even heard about Moors for the most part, because there's going to be a lot of uncluttering that you got to do as far as people who've been new. And that's the harder part. It's harder to come off something that you thought was the truth, opposed to somebody who is just getting excited about the truth and more flexible into learning. That's why this stuff is for the children, they say. Plus, dealing with international law is going to take some time. It's going to be around 2034 to where the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is up for discussion as to whether or not it's going to be reestablished again. Treaty of Peace and Friendship, another 50-year term. So, it's a lot of stuff to look at. We gotta look at everything, look at where we are, look at what's going on, and make proper decisions, whether it's gonna be signed or not, right? So, and again, that's all based on our development as governments. There's only so many governments at that time, more state governments. Just think about how much stress that may be, right? So if things are not looking good just yet, well, I guess we gotta learn government for the European a little bit more then, huh? Right? So um this let's see. You see how it says at the bottom, the steps, it says name change number 1, update commercial state ID or license with religious headdress and photo, right? Step 2. So that's why you see Moors with the, they fez or they turban on with the, California state ID or state of California ID, right? They driver's license and stuff like that, which is not sovereignty and independence. That's not sovereignty and independence. That's not independence, right? So already based on our laws, something you amalgamate, but it's better than before, right? Well, what did Noble Drew Ali do? He amalgamated, right? It's better than before, right? But it's a certain time frame. He incorporated a religious organization in somebody else's government. Now, when we say don't amalgamate, we're talking about a certain time frame. When we create certain state governments, why would we amalgamate? That's like saying, okay, we're gonna take more state governments and then somehow establish ourselves even more with the United States of America and amalgamate ourselves. Like take everything we got in this de jure most highest, grip, right? Based on law, de jure law, all the Moroccan treaties. We got them in our hand. And we're gonna share some with, this, we're gonna blend with this government and stuff like that. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? So don't amalgamate in terms of like you're already amalgamated if you're in doing in the Moorish Temple of America. It's incorporated in their state. That's already amalgamated. You're in their shit, using their shit, right? So, because not all temples, you got to think about this. Not all, it's like it's basically 3 different types of temples. After Noble Drew Ali died, what happened? They branched off and started doing their own thing. About 3, 4, 5 of them, right? So, which one is really telling the truth? You have to hash down that one. But guess what you're really just talking about? You talking about Moorish Temple America. It's all based on statutes. Read the book Principles of Political Science, which talks about and breaks down the basics of international law. It tells you that local governments, i.e., the theocratical governments, i.e., the Moorish Temple America that's incorporated in another state government. These local governments are only as far as statutes. That's the furthest they go as far as exercising. They cannot exercise treaties, the supreme law of the land. That's too high. It's too valuable. They're not in their proper context to do that. The only way for them to do that is to incorporate themselves in a Moorish state government. That's the only way any temple can clean itself out, because no temple on this landmass can tell me the name of the person or persons that cleaned out the temple and how they did it, and according in coherence with Moroccan laws, international law, treaty law, supreme law of the land, the highest system, strictly. So if it ain't from the treaties and you go to say the United States codes, you're already lost. You already lost. You already lost. That's not a treaty. United States code is not a treaty. What does it say in the treaty? You don't say Moorish dash American. You can't say, oh well, it mentions both of them, so we protected by both of them. So no, that it literally has to be a literal word that binds you to this treaty. So you're binding to it. That's the identity. If it says more, that's the correct, proper identity I can use based on a treaty, right? Without adding grammar of any sort. So you can't just take off and say yo what you think, what you believe. No, 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 no. So this is the laws of that, or laws of their stuff, right? Then you have the bankruptcy of the United States, which is not important right now. The Social Security Administration, a lot of people application for a Social Security card. This is how you set it up. Woody woody wow. Just put this here, put this there. Yeah, whatever. Not important. Um, Notice concerning fiduciary relationship. Okay, not important. Not important. Okay, so that was pretty much the wave of the midheaven. Because even though it's a lot more to it, I can make a part two, really, talking about trust, how to sell the trust, all this type of stuff, because that's in this book too. But uh, I'm not about to waste my time on all that, and like that's the way. So like literally, when I found out about statehood, everything I ever did with name change, with my whole plans, doing the trust, all this, nope, dropped it. One day I made my decision. I just like damn near threw the whole notebook away. Like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck this. Because you got to choose between the laws that the entire laws of one government. You can't be double headed with this, serving two different masters. You can't do that. But what happens is that if you're established so much in this, right, and you find out the actual truth, right, as far as statehood, there has to be a certain due process of law in order for you to not do this anymore. So this is what happens. You establish yourself as a Moorish State government, and you continue to do everything that you was doing before that, right? I'm talking about food stamps, everything, anything they can do, we do plus more because we're gonna be exercising human rights, which they can't do. So it's a due process of law. Remember that everything don't happen overnight. So just because you're not supposed to be in their government, of course, it's a due process of law. You got certain things got to be established, certain laws got to be enacted first. Certain people got to be taken to court, i.e., United States of America first. That's when things really change. So things change when you start a state government, yeah. But it only is going to get stronger in the frequency of how it changed. What's going to change is going to take time. That I mean a lot of time. Like again, Dr. Deborah Blair even said it. K through is going to be like us going through kindergarten to 12th grade, because a lot of this is going to be like what Noble Drali said. Your card is going to change overnight, i.e., your nationality card ain't gonna just be a nationality card. It's gonna be a state card. It's gonna be a state ID, right? So you don't even set it up how you used to set it up. The AA 222141. All that is U.S. stuff. Don't use their stuff. That's their shit. Don't use their constitution and shit. Their constitution. You got your own constitution. That's like you became a state. Put some on your own shit, right? So, um, this right here is from Moroccan treaty. But hold on. Let's see if anybody got if y'all got any questions or comments, um, then we can get into that because before we get into this part, because I want to make sure one wave or one sphere is pretty much understood before we get into adding this other sphere or other layer.
Brother,
Yeah.
you hear me? Yeah, you
Yeah.
know the application to the Moorish government. I mean the Moroccan government. I mean just to accept that. Well, just to clarify that you want to be accepted. Yeah. That the which Moroccan government are we applying to? Is it the Kingdom of Morocco or where else? Where else? Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yeah. Yeah. As far
Yeah,
as over in really at the end of the day, everybody this whole thing is Morocco, but that's gonna take some time. But
yeah, yeah,
as far as starting off, it would be the same process for everybody as far as the United Nations. So to start off, you would need, you know, everything what a state consists of a certain boundary. So would it be exact boundaries, the territory you in, the longitude, latitude you in. And since all of these people are actually corporations,
yeah,
this is where, because no, they can't say
yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
no,
They
it's like
can't. Yes,
free.
sir, sir,
It's nobody's doing this shit right now. Morocco is like Morocco. Our problem over here on this land is in the empire is that we we got different
yeah,
problems than everybody else, but everybody problems are somewhat similar. So if all these people are doing things like human
yeah,
trafficking, it's a lot of base level stuff. Human trafficking, operating as corporations, even though they're acknowledged as states and stuff like that. But it's only literally it's up to us to literally clean house from start to finish every corner, no matter
yeah,
how much
yeah,
the aspect
yeah,
is. Because if anybody in Africa,
yeah,
they anybody anywhere else instead of North South Central America, i.e. North South Central Morocco, they
yeah,
how they start a state government is different. Even though what I say how we grow is different, but the instructions are the
yeah.
same for everybody. So
Right.
your steps as far as the treaties, like what treaties do is that land governed by? So you would bring up those treaties that you're backed by and says, okay, this is where we're out of law because they're doing this. And this is not supposed to be like that according to these treaties. This is supposed to not be like this according to these
Right.
treaties, et cetera, et cetera. So
Right.
if you know so much, so many people are doing, or so many businesses are acting like state governments, or just doing unlawful shit. Period, according to these treaties, and you can establish your stuff as state government based on their unlawful degrees. It's like okay, well, you know what I mean? It's over with. You know what I'm saying? Because they shit is already on the record. All you got to do is go
Yeah.
back to the
So
treaties
it's
and be
kind of
like, okay. Matter of fact, let's go back to this
yeah,
because this is where it's gonna tie it into. This what, and I want to
yeah,
bring this up.
yeah. And
This
bring
where it's
them up
gonna
on
tie us
that. Yeah,
into.
put them on that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'll
Article
be yeah,
six, Article 6 of the Treaty on Peace and Friendship. Right. This is how we know the
yeah,
term Moor is a general term, but like in law, Moor is a general term, but
yeah,
there's still differentiations between Moors and people who are not Moors. So let's just read
okay,
Article 6 right quick.
yeah,
If any Moor shall, if any Moor shall bring citizens of the United States or their
cheers,
effects
man.
to his majesty, the
Yeah,
citizens shall immediately be set at liberty, and the effects
yeah,
restored, and in
yeah,
like manner. Then here, this is the part I want to focus
yeah,
on right here. If
yeah,
any more not a subject So if you're a Moor that's not subject to the dominions, shall make prize of any of the citizens of America. So hold on, before I continue that, if you're a Moor, basically a Moor that's not under the dominions of the Sultan of Morocco. So basically, you're a Moor in somebody else's government, somebody else's territory, somebody else's jurisdiction, enacting somebody else's law. So basically, general term, meaning that Moors are melanated people, right? But if you're enacting somebody else's, that's what it says. If Moor is not subject, you're not subject to this government, to the dominions, to the subject of these dominions. So you're not subject to the laws of this land, but you're a Moor.
Yeah.
Right. So that means that you can have a nationality somewhere else lawfully and legally come on this land. As long as shit kosher between your laws and my laws, I don't see nothing wrong. Right. But according to you being a Moor, right? You're a Moor, right?
Yeah.
That's not subject to this land, right? And it says, if shall make prize of any of the citizens of America or their effects. What has America done? This corporation, everybody's operating like that, or their effects, and bring them to the ports of His Majesty. Well, what is this saying? Well, the Moors everywhere else is Moors, right? This is the Moroccan Empire right here, though, and that's why I'm talking about. Everything is really Moroccan Empire.
Yeah,
that's what everybody is really. This whole fucking world. Like, at one point, everything what they call Tartaria, that was the Moroccan Empire in a different state. You know what I'm saying? What they call the whole world was Asia. That was just the Moroccan Empire in a different state. You know what I'm saying? And it trickled down to where, you know, the Moroccan Empire was just known as North America or North Africa and all of over here instead of the whole world, like Tartaria and Asia and stuff like that. So it just changed because, you know, people got fucked up. Ego came. You know what I'm saying? Wrong type of government.
And all that.
You know what I'm saying? We can go on with the list. You know, but,
for real.
but just that is telling you that you are Moor and that you're not subject to these dominions. But if you come across the American citizen or their effects, anything that they done or something like that, their effects, that frequency, right? Boom, you can come to the mat. You come back to, you know, once we come to establish our so-called United Nations, right? You bring it home. You know what I'm saying? That's when the Western world gonna basically know. But you still can do what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So okay, in effect, bro. In effect, you know, like, cause I'm in Albion. Yeah, I'm in England. Remember, so I'll be drawing them upon the effects of the treaty that haven't been kind of like represented. That is what I would, that treaty, like the Mecklenburg Treaty, let's say. I'll be drawing on that. Would I be drawing the treaty that was made with British Moors and the Moroccan Moors?
Right. Yep. All those treaties that not the so-called dummy treaties, but that just the actual international law documents. And then especially you can just follow the history of France itself, or not France, but the United Kingdom. Like where you at right now, you can follow the history of what they got going on, all the unlawful stuff, and use those points to retrace, you know, where this stuff is coming from. You see what I'm saying? Because you have what's called the United States of Brazil. Instead of Brazil, there's a United States of Brazil. And there's a United States of this, United States of Venezuela, there's a United States of that. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different avenues as to who is doing what, but it's all pretty much bottlenecking down to, okay, Moors are everywhere and we need to start getting our shit back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that, you know, again, in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, it made it clear who's not a Moor. You know what I'm saying? Because they called them Americans, right? So they had their own jurisdiction, right? Because things can't be that tricky. We can't have two different governments, central governments, right, on the same land, and both of us calling ourselves Moors to try to separate us, to try to decipher. Like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
No, your nationality is American because you ran off with the sack unlawfully. So you're just gonna give us what you gonna deal with what we give you. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. So they was already in unlawful status, just trying to they was just trying to cover the blanket, cover the shit. They shitted on the floor and they put a blanket over it and said, ain't nothing here. And they said, okay, this is good enough. You know what I'm saying? But they still shit. They full of shit. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, definitely, yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the cover taking off now. We see the shit. So
right.
Yeah,
that's about the way. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Go
saying?
ahead. Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about that Article 6 specifically because I was gonna bring that up later on in this video. But I'm glad that you spoke on it now because that's a perfect way to understand how we gonna bloom into, because as Moorish State government, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a due process of law. It's gonna happen fast, but one step at a time, one layer at a time, one grip at a time, type of thing.
Patience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Okay. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's brilliant because it's kind of what you said the last time. It's like exactly what you said the last time. It's going to the shit and go to what treaties they've made and start from there. You with me? Yeah.
Yeah, we can build on personally. So we can. I know you got my Twitter and stuff. So DM me on.
If
You said when now?
Yeah. Bit of
What'd you say?
line there, bro. Yeah. When I get back on the I just said that I've got a bit of a bad line here in Albion still. Certain location, the line goes a bit off sometimes, but we get together on that. I hit you up on Twitter, and we can build on that.
Okay, yeah, for sure. We can get direct. Yeah,
you know what you were saying. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I know you're almost classing that, but you know what I mean. We've got to do it by the collective. Well, as a collective still. So just in case anybody else wants to say anything, yeah, man, I'll just come out of that a minute.
Right on.
Okay, bro.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a lag.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna and then listen to see what anybody else is saying and see if we continue with the class. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So is there anybody else that has any questions or comments before we talk about this last portion, which is a few slides, which is the highest tier?
Peace, yeah. You're talking about the Moorish American. That's not a real thing, right? So I've heard Moorish also say Moorish American national as well. So that's not real either. In that same vein.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Because all that's doing is saying you still a Moorish American, or the term that's not in any treaty. And the funny thing is about it, I posted on my Instagram. Huh?
No, I was just saying that was something that USAR started with the Moorish American National. That's what I thought. That's what I was too, though. But that's all I was just saying.
And I felt like that was a pretty newer term, somewhat. So yeah. So that would make sense. I feel you. But yeah, that's basically saying, same thing as Moorish American, which I even posted. I ain't gonna say no names because I don't even want to, give them that type of power. But everybody know who I'm talking about when we say the incompetent Moors from Canaan land. Saying that the Moorish Science Temple of America is a theocratic government and not a provincial state. And then he asked me what I was talking about, and I posted on my Instagram. So point after point, time after time again, if we see the people who are running the tiers of these organizations, tell you what it is, and then we look up what a provincial state or provincial government or a state government is, we see that it leads you to not be stateless and leads you to being able to exercise full powers of international law, complete sovereignty and independence. So this is an indication to where, like, I'm gonna make a video to where it's different parts in the Bible, Quran, the other Bible, the Oashvi Bible. It's different parts to where it's basically a lot telling you in different ways to where you gonna be able to call out the difference, besides what Noble Drew said, the difference in what people are doing and what's actually gonna happen to them on a spiritual level, because on a physical and spiritual level, you know what I'm saying? And y'all probably got a good idea of what's gonna happen, but just to bring up, realistic situations, like with family members who might not get it, all types of, because even Noble Drew said, and I'm paraphrasing, if his mom ain't with it, then she ain't with it. And again, I'm paraphrasing that, but that just lets you know that you can literally count on one hand, and it's gonna be a lot of, it's going to be a lot of emotions being corrected that you probably may have not seen or thought that it would need to be corrected in that standpoint. Because law is the law, and whoever is outside the law is going to have to deal with the law, and that is what it is, no matter who it is to you. Okay. So, and that's not saying everybody, it goes to who's being belligerent at the end of the day. Because once certain things, and I like for everybody to watch Ampag's on Ampag Media, they last video. They brought up some good points on there, some good points, to where they said that, imagine laws being enacted, which is nothing to enact from the state government, right? But imagine laws. Y'all seen how Kanye West went through the whole anti-Semitic thing? You speak on the Jews and basically your whole life fucked, right? Same thing for the Moors, right? Defamation of character. Enact the law into the standpoint to where if you put on that fez is for nationals. If you're not a national, don't put that fez on Masons. Don't put that fez on Moorish Americans, right? We're drawing lines. Anybody who is not de jure with this covenant, which means treaty, that's what they talk about in the Bibles and Qurans and shit like that. When they say covenant, covenant is what protects you. That's Allah or whatever you believe in protecting you, right? So, and I'll make a whole video on that spiritual standpoint, but just dealing with the pinnacle, like Noble Drew said, right? The Moors is gonna be high up on the pinnacle. I'm talking about high up on the pinnacle, to where it's gonna cause people to come rushing to the state government, right? They're gonna come rushing to the temples that's in the state Moorish state government, because them gonna be cleaned up. The Moors in the state, you don't think that? Come on now. The temples that's in these boundaries, all the Moorish state government boundaries. Oh yeah. It's a little section for them too. Oh yeah. You see what I'm saying? That's the only way they're gonna get clean. Then that's when people gonna start running to the temples. After the other half has been told, oh shit, the officials ain't got time to do that. I mean, we got, governments have organizations, right? I.e. the Moorish Science Temple of America, i.e. the Holy Temple of Science, whatever you want to call it, which really is gonna be, in for discussion. But so this is the pinnacle, the drawing of the line. Okay, as to the line is gonna be, hey, I heard about the Moors. Yeah, I heard about the Moors. Hey, I heard about the Moroccans. Yeah, I heard about we're Moorish Americans. Whoa, that's where you went wrong. And it's just gonna be a big red flag word. Just like when you say something about the Moors and laws is already enacted, right? We get into the, how Moors might say, hey man, I'm about to sue him for defamation of character, man. He can't do this to me. And they only have a state government, right? This is the for real about this, that part. The for real. Like you have a state government to enact that supported by the United Nations. Backed by you ain't even a part of them. He's saying, look, y'all can do treaties with us. We can discuss this. We already tied the United States. Y'all tied the United States. What you want to do? What you want to do? I'm out of there. What you want to do? Only then can you talk to the United Nations. Complete sovereign and independent. You see? So, a lot of stuff is in the talks. But a lot of stuff is in the talks for what's to happen, right? But let's remember that it's in the talks. There's a lot of stuff in the talks. But we know what we got to do now in order to get to those talks. It's going to take due process of law. It's going to take due process. That's why I was laughing at you. But it's going to take due process of law to, for time to say, hey, okay, obviously, just like let's look it back on history, right? Let's look back on history. And I'm about to get into these screens here in a second, these last two slides. But the United States, when the pirates and stuff was raiding, remember? All them pirates, when they was getting hit, they couldn't grow. It was hard. They had to pay this part of Morocco. They had to pay Tangier. They had to pay Algeria. They had to pay us. They had to pay this and this and that, right? A lot annually. So they couldn't grow. It's like, dang, how we going to grow if we got to pay them? And think about it. This ain't nothing but our karma coming back on us, truthfully. Because look how fucked up we did. We started a treaty of peace and friendship. Then we have Moors coming from everywhere, grouping up together, saying, look, man, look, they got this thing called international law going on to where they teaming up and they want peace. Pirates is like, look, skip all that because you see how much we running this shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see how much we running this? And you know the history behind that, you know what I'm talking about. So, again, those were Moors from everywhere doing that while and after the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. So we expect the United States of America to look at the whole scope of things, right? Because they can bring that up on us too. But guess what? That will make their point more right or whatever. Fuck, right? It's just actual facts. Moors did fucked up shit too. Moors are not fucking angels all on this earth, just pure and divine. We did nothing wrong. No, with more and more war. Period. So when we talk about the development of government, every government needs taxes. That's just a fact. Every Moor should want to pay taxes to a Moroccan government if they don't want to be like how it was before. You want your government to grow, right? You want to eventually work for yourself. You want your children to be fine. You want shit to be different. You want shit to be how it was, right? That requires accountability and responsibility. Now, the more people, the easier the responsibility and accountability. The more the merrier, right? But that requires one step at a time, and that one step at a time doesn't encompass everything in the world. So when you establishing your state governments, don't expect everything in the world to be at your hand every step of the way. Yes, you can enforce full powers of international law as a state government now, and say you don't have shit like the United States didn't have shit, right? But they were still acknowledged as Americans, but they didn't have shit. They had to prove themselves worthy. We have to basically prove ourselves worthy to ourselves. So ain't nothing just gonna come in your lap without work. You see, but the work ain't what people think it is. It's really just in yourself. It's the confidence, the knowledge and stuff. You have so much nourishment and support from all these other governments that's online, willing to do a lot of things as long as we are proving ourselves wanting and ready to be in these positions. That's all you have to do is literally, truthfully focus on yourself, individually. Make sure that your confidence, whatever, how you're going to do this alchemy inside of you, is up there as far as frequency. Because that's literally the knowledge, you know, that can be sent to you in an email, you know, instead of having to go look in this treaty what this instruction is, and this treaty what the instruction. That work has already been put out. You see? So we all have a part and we all have a certain nut or bolt to twist, right? To contribute to say, okay, this person did this part of the government, right? So we don't have to do a lot, but you still gonna have to do your part somewhere, right? So part and parcel of your own government, right? So that's what this is pretty much all about, as far as, you know, it's really more so about confidence and energy. That aspect, and like I said, the knowledge can come in a whole email. Boom, bow. What do we say in our when we go to court? How are we going to do this? How are we going to? That's damn near pretty much figured out. How am I going to write a state constitution? No, we don't. We're going to need a year and a half to just the state constitution. That's just the constitution alone, and we got to worry about the other 6 steps. And no. Look, make it easy. Keep it simple. Don't reinvent nothing. AMPAC has already shared that with us several times. When they come to their state government, they're wanting to be a beacon of light. That's in their constitution. They're aiming to be a beacon of light. What does this mean? Besides the metaphysical aspects of that, to be a beacon of light, remember, God is light, right? To be a beacon of light is to keep it light. Keep it simple. Less stressful. Don't reinvent the wheel. You see the state constitution they got? That could be yours. Change it up to your favor. Let's get on the road, because it's not even about that. You can change it up later. Right? So that's what I mean as far as the knowledge is at your fingertips. As soon as you get the knowledge, just focus on the energy and all that. So you're gonna see this knowledge. You already know, I'm telling you now that the knowledge is there. But are you gonna say, I'm ready for a state government now? Some of us might not say that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but some of us might be like, I wouldn't say that I am. And that's what I'm talking about. As far as the knowledge, you're hearing it right now. It's already in you right now. You knew this already. A lot of this is really uncluttering the knowledge that's already in you. You got the knowledge. It's really just, you know you're more. You know half of this stuff. Like you already got it. But the thing is just readjusting it so that your confidence can say, look, you know what? I'm stepping in the Moorish State government. We own it. We own it today. Type of thing. So that's what I'm talking about. It all come back to yourself. These treaties can't tell you nothing that you ain't already know, because a lot of this stuff is just common sense. You just got to make it make sense in accordance with these times. You know you're not a United States citizen. You don't make no treaties to say you're not that. You knew that. You know that. You knew that even without studying any treaty. So once you look at the common sense in these treaties, you be like, damn, it is just common sense human rights and shit we've been saying. It's just they putting it in ways that for us to put it in a government aspect. We've been saying a lot of things out of context. We've been saying things. We've been saying state, just not in the right context. We've been knew it. We've been saying, look up state, Black's Law Dictionary. Look and see what it says. It says state. I'm not stateless, but the whole time you were stateless. You read every single word. You knew the knowledge. It was right there. It was in you. You memorized it and everything. But it was out of context. So, and that's what I mean. It's all in you. Okay, even without the support of a book. But because what they say, even in international law, who recognizes the state? The state recognizes themselves. All you doing is putting United Nations on notice. That what they say don't make you. You make what the fuck y'all say y'all is. As long as y'all know what y'all is in these treaties, you can make sense of it yourselves. Y'all elected yourself personally, then y'all elected the other officials for your government, and only thing you did was send it to United Nations. United States said boom. And United Nations said that's all you need to do. This ain't no trick bag. We stressed this fact. We made laws on that's all you need to do. There's books on this. It's images on my page of where they say that literally in different books, in charters and stuff. So it's just of literally lack of knowledge. Imagine you've been already knew that on top of the more stuff. That means that technically you just remembering stuff. Remember. You're just reorganizing your brain. It's already in you. Remembering it, you thought you lost it. No, nigga. It's just a nerve. It's just a section in you. You're remembering. You're activating it. It's already in you because it's common sense. Once you talk about, a lot of times you talk about this human rights stuff, and you thinking, oh, we can't be like that. But you already mentioned it 2 or 3 times in the conversation that how it's possible, and don't even know because you're not making. You never studied the law. You think nationality we got to do this and nationality, this name changing that stuff, but you already knew that you was a Moor by blood, right? Right? You already knew that infiltration happened, right? Right? You just got to make sense of it all. You skip some steps. Remember it. Reorganize it. Not remember just we got to come up with a new idea. No, ain't shit, ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't no fucking thought. You ain't getting no new thought coming to mind. All these are from the end. All this shit is recycled. Energy don't die. It don't change. Nothing is new. Nothing. So it's just all in the wordplay. Are you remembering because you lost something or because it was never there? Are you remembering like reorganizing? Because it's already in you. Like you just clean up. Like I know it's somewhere. My key's somewhere in this motherfucking house. I lost it. I brought them upstairs and I lost them upstairs. So let me reorganize. Let me remember some things. Oh, there it is. There's the fucking answer. You know what I'm saying? So it's don't strain ourselves, you know what I'm saying, thinking that, you can't get all this information tonight. All you gotta be is like, how Brother Panic used to say, record yourself saying, I'm God, and fall asleep to that shit. Do whatever the fuck you gotta do to get your confidence up to be like, look, them hieroglyphs on the walls, you know how people say, that's you. You the ancestors reincarnated. Yeah, let's actualize this shit. Like, you can tell everybody in every way with the same type of power in every way, not just talk about it, right? I'm talking about, nigga, you're the living deity. You're like actualize it. You know what I'm saying? So full powers. What is that? Merkaba. You know what I'm saying? Actualize it. So this. And sorry for my tangent. I just be having so much fire. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, I just be having so much fire. Shit. But so this is Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid. Okay. This is Moroccan treaty, Moroccan law. And within this treaty is a story in which I have highlighted at the bottom, and I'll fully explain here soon after we read this article, Article 15. Because the explanation is right there. But let's make complete sense of this. Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid, it says, and this is of 1880, the date is right there, right? It's the right of protection in Morocco. That's what this is all about. As it said on the screen. It says, any subject of Morocco, well, let me pause. Just with that, let me pause. Any subject of Morocco, where we see this term at? We see Moroccan.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you was getting ready to ask where you seen the subject term. That's what I thought you were getting ready to ask. You go
Yeah,
ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Throw it out there. Throw it out there, cause
Uh,
yeah, that's
and
good.
Peace and Friendship Treaty. As was it Articles? I want to say 6.
Yep. Article 6. Yep, we see it there. We see it there in many treaties actually, but yeah, we see it there. We see it
Um,
in the French. Oh, go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
the 1797, the Sun Drive Free Moors Act, where they were saying they was Moorish subjects. That I mean, that's
Yep.
not a treaty. That was just something with them basically saying they wasn't Negro, colored, or black.
Right. Yep, that was international law at that time. Yep. That became international. That was between the Moroccan government and the American government. We're talking about, something that's, fresh off the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, basically. Right around that time it was established. So yeah, that was they petitioned the government because the Sultan was the rocking the shit at the time, right? He was making everything straight. Unlike today's time, everybody like, whoa, we're the Sultan now, right? So some happened as far as to how more should do government then and now, because if we petition the Sultan now, we like, hold on, these Sultans is kings for one. And something happened in just that being that alone. How you go from Sultan to king in the kingdom. So that means something happened in international law and wherever in international law period that changed because more subjects. But let's answer this though. Talk about this though right quick. France versus United States of America. That case, right? That case was, it mentioned more subjects, and it said, so we got treaties, Moroccan treaties that mention more subjects, right? And we got a France versus United States of America case that mentions more subjects. Now the more subjects, right, have certain rights and protections according to the treaties. But if you look at this case, you see that the more subjects are under the jurisdiction of the United States or under the protection. We're considered people who are they're considered proteges and more subjects, right? Just like it says in the treaties. But based on this case now, the more subjects are under the United States of America jurisdiction because there's no Moroccan authority, aka Moorish government. So now, ever since that case, it's lawfully under international law until something else happens that based on your own treaties, right? Because that's what the United Nations was doing. They was backing and they was trying to do. France was trying to do everything for these more. They said, look, these Moorish subjects, they need to follow these Moorish laws, and we got laws. We got agreements. We got treaties with this government, right? They said that they was falling. They asked us for a loan around late 1800s, 1900s when Abdul Aziz was doing that crazy stuff in office, and Moroccan government needed a loan. And we talking about we need to go back to a theocratic government and doing stuff like that. Man, what? And get into the hands of another dummy that don't know nothing without three branches of government? Come on, man, please. You know what I'm saying? That's how we fail. But that's also how egotism grew. But so we and I only say that because I'm thinking about this recent week that I've been having this discussion with Morris. You just don't get it. But that's where a lot of this fire coming from. But in the France versus United States of America case, it says what's called capitulation regime. That's an actual term used in that case, to where it says basically since we're stateless, it's only two statuses. Either you got your government or you don't. So either you stateless or you have a state. If you don't have a state, that means you got to follow the laws of another government. You know what I'm saying? So it means you're protected, what's called a protege, under that government. And more subjects should be under a Moorish government. Since there is no Moorish government, And the only thing France could do was so much. They can say, look, United Nations, we're gonna release that jurisdiction in America. But guess what? This treaty of peace and friendship is only between America and Morocco. Morocco is now in the hands of Morocco's government to do something, if it is something, and when it is there, right? So that's pretty much this. And I'm gonna make some. We definitely going. I'm gonna go over that like 3, 4, 5 times because there's so much stuff in that as far as our instructions in that case alone. But that's pretty much the outline of more subjects, and if we're under jurisdiction, as if we're more subjects, if we're under the jurisdiction of America, truthfully, you know what I'm saying? Because it didn't start off that way, but our stuff failed. Sultan acquiesced. That's why it was versus France versus United States of America. Like United States of America got so much say on the Treaty of Peace. They was talking about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship without us there in international law. Like who? That doesn't let you know something is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Sultan was nowhere to be seen. He became a king. He got compromised. There ain't no more petitioning his ass and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they started off their own state government so they can eat and use the treaties and do things with other nations and continue making laws, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But how they align, it's gonna be, everybody. A lot gonna get everybody. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be no space. Ain't gonna be no space and time where this shit don't get aligned. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of this stuff, as I stated earlier, a lot of us may have family members who is with the Moorish American wave till they die. It might even come off so belligerent that, later on in life, if they still don't get it and they still act belligerent, well, jail time. Well, it's whatever we decide, really, which is we can't go outside the law. You breaking the law, what happens to people who break the law? Well, the law gonna break you. You don't break the law. This ain't my opinion. This ain't one person's opinion. This is Allah's movement. Can't not one individual do shit about this. All these laws came before us, before Noble Drew Ali, all that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want people to understand as far as, like we gonna talk about spiritual morals. Because a lot of people gonna say, just think about what Noble Drew Ali said. And again, I'm paraphrasing because I forgot the exact term, the exact quote. But once you turn your back and basically you can't, then drop the world on them. What is drop the world on me? You tell me what that means. You tell me what that means. Because I think if you talk about this world and everything in it, you got to talk about jail time. You got to talk about a lot of stuff that we don't want to talk about, uncomfortable conversations. You know what I'm saying? So drop the world on them. And plus, follow the laws. Follow your mothers and your foremothers and forefathers. So if you're trying to not break the law, on top of enacting new laws based on what's going on today, right? So because we got to grow, right? We can't go outside of the laws that came before us. So that means that it's going to be a lot of boo-hooing if you can't get past, some stages or some perceptions or some understandings. You know what I'm saying? So, we got to understand this spiritual stuff. You got to be in this world and not of it for a reason. Can't be a judge, up there trying to sway emotions, trying to sway a law based on emotions because that's your family member. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen so soon, right? But let's just imagine where we are in that standpoint. And we might not be the actual physical ones, we might be dead and gone. But let's just imagine when this predicament do come, but these teachings must live on. Because if you're letting emotions sway the law, I don't think you should be in position of the Kazi, aka the judge. Because you about to get us right back in the same position we just came out of. So It's a lot of spiritual work to be done, but let's talk about this. Right? So the subject of Morocco, who has been naturalized in any foreign country, and who shall return to Morocco, shall after remain for a length of time equal to that which shall have been regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization, choose between entire submission of the laws of the empire and the obligation to quit Morocco. The entire submission to the laws of the empire. Okay, so there's another term we talk about, entire submission, because they talk about entire submission in a couple of documents outside of this one. But entire submission, this means the treaty of peace and friendship cannot be enforced by anybody that's not a part of a state. What kind of state? A Moorish state. That's the only type of state that can enforce Moorish treaties. That's the only type of state that's backed by treaty. It's the treaties, it's our laws that give us the authority to be who we are. What is that? Universal law. That's what man's law is truly based off of. You looking yourself in the mirror the whole time, right? So we must choose. You must choose either or. United States Codes is for United States of America, or the corporation more precisely. You can't talk about the treaty and American stuff. The treaty of peace and friendship between two different governments. Which laws you want to choose between? Which laws do you want to use? Which ones? Because if it's proven that you using United States codes, then that's proven that you cannot use the treaty and international law. Choose between entire, all of it, every spec, right? The codes, ordinances, whatever the fuck they got going on. Any new thing, any old thing. Choose between entire submission to the laws of the empire and the obligation to quit Morocco. So in order to naturalize truthfully to be a part of another government, you must quit Morocco. You must get approval from a Moroccan government to be that. A Chinese citizen has to get approval, a Chinaman, right? They have to get approval from a Chinese government in order to be a United States citizen. Same goes for everybody. They have to get approved from their government to be a citizen of another. Until then, wherever they go, the nationality of that person, the laws of that land still stands for them, wherever they go. But then if they choose to say, hey, man, I think I like this so-called United States stuff. They actually go say, hey, look, I'm from China. I had human rights. And since they don't know United States is a corporation, they just became a corporation. They just waived all their human rights. They said, fuck it. They just became a corporation. They just devalued themselves without knowing. Debased themselves without knowing. So it says, unless it shall be proven that his naturalization in a foreign country was attained with the consent of the government of Morocco. So again, you must get consent of the government of Morocco. But what is this saying? Well, guess what? All United States citizens, so-called, are truly Moors. They're truly Moors. Because guess what? They never got consent from a Moroccan government to be United States citizens. Matter of fact, they didn't even go through the right process to be United. Who went through the process of my mom or my dad or anybody went and raised their right hand, put their left hand on the Bible, and said, I'm a United States citizen or United States of America citizen, whatever the fuck. I'm an American citizen, and did it. Who went through that in court? Nobody. Motherfuckers that come from overseas go through that. Some of them. But even that only says so much still, because they're a corporation. So It says, unless it shall be proved that his naturalization in a foreign country was obtained with the consent of a government of Morocco. Okay. So it goes to say foreign naturalization hereto acquired by subjects of Morocco, according to the rules established by the laws of each country, each state, each country, each state. Okay, let's start over. For foreign naturalization hereto acquired by subjects of Morocco, Moroccan subjects, according to the rules established to the laws of each, let's just say state, because a state is country, right? These states. It's not Indiana. It's not California. It's not Florida. It's not a state. It's a country, right? It is what it was before that, really. So it's state of Indiana and Indiana state. That's two different things. So Indiana state is the actual so-called state, United States of America. State of Indiana is the corporation. Okay. Either way it go, it ain't your shit. So, where we, so according to each country, right, the laws of each country. So that tells you right there that Moroccan Empire consisted of countries. That consisted of laws for each country. So it consisted of individual states that made an empire, right? As time grew. So, let's see. Shall be continued to them as regards all its effects without any restrictions. Without any restrictions, right? No tension. So then we go down to the bottom, the footnote. We see, as it reads, a U.S. note on March 17th, 1959, addressed to the Moroccan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, referred to a note from the ministry dated October 8th, 1958, in which the embassy has been informed that the Moroccan government has decided, this is in 1958, and the Moroccan government has decided to strike all prescriptions relating to Moroccan nationality. Hold on. The Moroccan government don't want us to proclaim nationality? So hold on. The people that's lost in 1958. What time is this? 1956, 52, excuse me, was the France versus United States of America case. So hold on. The Sultan around that time, the Moroccan government, right? Because it wasn't between one state, one country. Sultan of Morocco and America, treaty of peace and friendship, right? That's how we was doing business until Moors had to understand this is what we fucked up. We fucked up so much. Before I go into this more into this, we fucked up so much that, and excuse my language, my profanity, but this is raw right now. So we messed up so much that it came to the point where international law, as we see it today, the Christian states started this because they had to group together and form some union because we was on their ass. Pirates everywhere, everything. They were subject to us in every way. As we became infighting, as infighting happened, right, and things like this, Moroccan government doing things to their own subjects of Morocco, so infighting consistently. You know, you had the amalgamation period where Turks who stop looking like the original Turks, that became a problem. You had this problem over here. You had this problem over here. So much infighting, right? That it came to the point to where Europeans, different, they were city states at first, right? City states. Now they became states, right? City states and nations, then nation state, and then state. Really, is how I grew. But so they became states. They all said, look, man, the empire, Moroccan empire, Ottoman empire, whatever you want to call it, Sharifian empire, they own our butts. And we need to do something. Only common sense tells you that we ain't gonna be doing nothing unless we come together to a certain degree. Even though they had their own infighting. But what happened was that modern international law, and how it says in France versus United States of America case, it says that Moors need a modern state, just like everybody else has a modern state. Why'd they say modern state? Why'd they say modern? Why'd they try to differentiate? Like, why'd they try to explain it like that? Because the old way we used to do government wasn't a modern state. Moors then, after certain period, international law was, we had to conform to this due to us falling. So it was like we failed so much that because remember, Moors are everywhere. Moors formed a different government, a different way of international law that grew about the protection of international law. So it started off in the nitty gritty. Oh, we gotta really do peace. We really need peace, y'all. We really need peace. So they were really trying to rug stuff up. We really need peace. It's the law of nations. We really need peace. You know, type of thing. Because they still getting hit. Really need peace. It's the only way. You see how big they are. Right? So they grudged out peace from those ways and that angle, and it grew into being more harmonious over time. Right? As you see today. So you don't see those same Christian nations trying to operate in international law how they did back then. Right? It was more inhumane, let's say, in different ways. It was more physically seen. It was more out in the open. You get snatched up real quick. Give a fuck what government you're talking about from. Snatched up depending on where you at. So, you know, I mean, you still get snatched up today, but that's a different story. So, when we talking about this footnote, right? This footnote says the Moroccan government has decided to strike, like get rid of. They hit it. Strike it. They wounded this way of life. Struck it. All perceptions, every which way. You want to proclaim nationality? Think again. You better stay where you at. The door has been closed. Right? Relating to Moroccan nationality from the text of the Madrid Convention. So from this treaty is where it was stricken in 1880. What happened? Noble Ali. 1886. Okay, you want to do that? Okay. So, it goes to say the U.S. note said, in part, the government of the United States of America having unilaterally, meaning one-sidedness, relinquished certain rights in Morocco with the emergence of Morocco independence in 1956. Hold on. That just gave us the answer. The Sultan of the Moroccan government got rid of nationality in 1956. Moors here in the Moroccan Empire could not proclaim nationality. They could not. What's happening at this time, COINTELPRO? You got a lot of things popping off at this time to try to make sure this never happens again, because they knew that somehow this was gonna catch up to them. They struck it. They couldn't do nothing else. They couldn't take out. This unilaterally going on. These things are on the record everywhere by now. try to strike it. Oh, whoa, whoa, we got a copy. We don't see it. Article 15 here. What's going on? United Nations. Don't y'all enforce treaty yet? Y'all got a copy? Yeah, okay. I don't see 15. Starting to notice something funny going on. Starting to sound rough over there in America, so-called. What's going on? Look at this treaty. So that's what's going on. The U.S. note said, in part, the government of the United States of America having unilaterally, what does that mean? The government of the United States, the USA, the Americans, unilaterally, by themselves, relinquished it. What does that mean? France versus United States of America case. The consultant didn't say shit. He acquiesced unilaterally, right? He was supposed to be there. He didn't. He wasn't. So in 1956, remember the case was in 1952. So think about how fast things are going to happen if we got to go back and talk to in 2034, renegotiate or somewhere around that time, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And things like this has happened in a few years. You're talking about the court case in 1952. Then you got independence relinquished 1956. And that's with so many things happened in between. I'm talking about after this case, 1952. What happened? Well, the United States, COINTELPRO, and start doing other shit. Make sure we never find out what was going on the other side, on the outside, international law side. Well, then you have rights for stateless people. Things like that started to come out in the 60s. So again, you have United Nations work from the outside while the Moors that's trying to be as sure as they can working from the inside. And by that time, you already got the Moorish Side Temple America infiltrated. You got, oh my goodness. Like literally our answer came out in the 60s. It was supposed to start off in the 60s, bro. When Malcolm X found out what he found out and told MLK, right, Michael, he had basically found out a degree because what happened? He found out that we needed to go to the United Nations. Just like Moors said, we need to go to the United Nations. We need to take the United States of America, us Moorish Americans need to take the United States of America to the ICC and ICJ. Yeah, I'm gonna file this lawsuit, and then this lawsuit gonna be this level gonna be to this level. And then next thing you know, we're gonna be at the UN talking about ICJ and ICC. No, you're not. No, you're not. Not without a Moroccan government. You're not. They only talk to states in an international criminal court and an ICJ, right? Or the ICJ. So we got to look at, based on the history, how fast things can change. Because if this was a relinquished jurisdiction, what type of jurisdiction? Consular jurisdiction in Morocco. That's a big move. You're talking about civil and criminal. A lot of Moors is doing business organizations talking about, yeah, this is protects my civil and criminal executive, right? So this is telling you right here, in relation to the consular jurisdiction, it was relinquished. It was supposed to be Moroccan governments, consular courts, enforcing things from the treaties, protecting civil and criminal matters. What Malcolm X do? Need to go to the United Nations. Well, that was a little bit too loud. That idea is a little bit too loud, buddy. Right? So off you go. That's what happened. Rest his soul. And I don't mean to call him Malik it's Malik El Haj. What's his name? I forgot his whole name, but Malik. So where is that? So 1956. Remember, 1956. Let's keep the story going. What happened? Kingdom of Morocco became a thing. You're right, because they relinquished jurisdiction, right? Remember, think about this. When they talk about Morocco, they talking about over there in North Africa, and they talking about here. So if the United States relinquished jurisdiction in Morocco, what happened? Consular jurisdiction, what happened? Well, they talking about this land because that landmass over there ain't America. Ain't got shit to do with America. Well, they ain't over there on that landmass. But due to the Sultan saying, look, Americans, they trying to control somebody and stuff like that. And France, they want exactly who they controlling. And guess who else? France is on the Kingdom of Morocco. They was on the next of king. So let's start over. Let's start over for a second. I'm gonna put this clear as hell. France was on the next, was on the Sultan neck. He was on their neck because they were doing stupid shit. They asked for Sultan, asked for loans and all type of stuff. So now France all up in their business, right? Over there in Africa, Kingdom of Morocco, right? Before it came Kingdom of Morocco. Well, actually, that's another story for another day. But so the France was on their necks, right? But the empire, when they talk about Morocco, they talking about not only over there, but they talking about over here too. So 1912, France say, hey yo, United States of America, yo, y'all like we supposed to who y'all got protecting? We supposed to be protecting them. So they damn near trying to jab at them. They're trying to fight, right? So I'm gonna take you to court. That's the fight, right? So United States of America, like, no. You ain't getting them because if you get them, that means you get us too, right? So if they subject, I mean we subject too. So they like, nope. So they fight back saying, look, y'all ain't in this treaty of peace and friendship though. So at least we can say that. That's the only reason shit ain't our stuff failed. France ain't in the treaty of peace and friendship, and they United States of America just got left with the decision because at the time they was the de facto government. In fact, they were the government. Not in truth, but in fact, they're the government. The state government, right? Not in truth. They're not the de jure, not the truthful sovereign. But in fact, they're the de facto government. So, in fact, they're the government. They're the so-called sovereign ones until we follow our laws and make that politically correct to where they're not. Because truthfully, they're not. So the whole unilaterally, right? So let's continue with the story though. So the jabs was being thrown. France was like, United States of America, we need that, right? Decades passed, certain things happened, right? Letters were sent. Then you get to 1952, the actual case, to where they did not give up after so much. So it was like, fuck, we taking them to court. It was decided that they can only do so much. Since both sides knew that, right? United States of America, like, whoo, we can stay here. We can stay here. As long as we don't get the Moors to waking up, they're not going to see this case saying that they need a Moroccan authority. They're not going to see this case saying, this is where the relinquishment of the United States, they're not going to make sense of any of that. We can give them a little bit, and tie it to another so-called victory. We can tie it up another way, right? But let's just hide the rest. Like striking, we can only hide it. We can't really do shit, but hide it the best we can, type of thing. So 1952, the case. 1956, the Kingdom of Morocco become a thing. What happened? France gave them their independence. Whoa, what happened? What happened? What's going on? What's going on? So France and United States of America and the Sultan was supposed to be in there of what's called so-called the Kingdom of Morocco. What's called the Kingdom of Morocco. He was supposed to be there. That king now, who was recognized as Sultan back then, they were supposed to be there. That line was supposed to be in action with that, but wasn't. So France can only do so much in that case, in which that's where the whole France relinquishing jurisdiction or giving them their independence. France can only do so much in that case. It's up to the Moors to do something. Well, who else was giving that identity to the Moors over in the Kingdom of Morocco? Who was doing something, right? So yeah, the Moors did something. What type of Moors? Not the original Moors, not the Moors who bringing back the zero law. The Moors over there that playing games took the title of, yeah, the Moors doing something for themselves. And while we over here looking like, them ain't even the real Moors, them ain't even da 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 da. You see? So who's taking credit? They taking credit for everything of what's supposed to happen, what did happen, all of that. Good and bad. While we just over here gotta listen to the United States if you ain't got the Moorish state government, right? So that's the you got to think about both the whole thing, not just over there in Morocco. When they say Morocco gave France gave them independence, you got to look at the whole story. Think about this case, right? So it goes to read. It says the government of the United States of America having unilaterally relinquished certain rights in Morocco with the reemergence of Morocco into independence, right? The reemergence of Morocco into independence in 1956 considers that in line with historical developments, Article 15 of the Madrid Convention on Protection of 1880 has become obsolete and without effect. So it's no effect. It was you can use. So it says the government of the United States takes due cognizance, therefore, of the action taken by the Moroccan government as set forth in its above cited note, which the United States government understands to refer only to Article 15 of the Madrid Convention of Protection of 1880. So only Article 15. It was like, yeah, take that out. Get rid of that. You got our permission. Put something else on your websites. Type of thing. COINTELPRO before COINTELPRO, basically. So in this, in which is the last picture, and we can wrap it up. Article 121. I speak about this quite a bit. Article 121 of the Act of Algeciras, which is Moroccan government. Why? Why is this act considered a treaty? Because in international law, all acts, conventions, and treaties are considered treaties. Okay, this came from a Moroccan government, right? So it's Moroccan law how we're to be treated, right? So where is this? Oh, Article 121. This general act will be ratified according to the constitutional laws particular to each state. So in 1906, when the Moroccan Empire, did they have state governments, particular state governments? Did those state governments have constitutions? Yes. In 1906, the Moroccan Empire was still up and running. What was in the Moroccan Empire? States. What did they say according to their laws? Well, each state needs constitutional laws particular to each state. The ratifications will be deposited at Madrid. So you establish your state government is doing what? Making a state constitution, ratifying it, not at Madrid anymore because that's where the international law was being governed by or at. So as well as other places. But in modern times, the United Nations. The Moroccan Empire failed. There's no depositing with us anymore, at least for now. So it says will be deposited in Madrid. Earliest that make could be and at the latest, 31st December 1906, it will be drawn up, deposit, in official report whose certified copy conforms will be given to the power signatories by the diplomatic way. And that's the powers signatories, everybody, all the signatures involved, so all the state governments involved with this treaty. So basically, not only was it turned in Madrid, but it was given to all of them. So basically, boom. Guess who else has to back these treaties that we enforce? All the signatories of these treaties. So we talking about support here. We're talking about people to say, look, they looking at us like this. They want relations with Morocco. They don't want relations with the United States. They want the United States out of here. Half the United Nations want the United States out of here. They want relations with Morocco, Moroccan governments on the land of milk and honey, right? They know this is where the real shit, good juice is, right? So these signatories, these nations, these states, if they want to do business with us, well, of course they're going to make sure our treaties is uplifted. They got to. So what that mean? They're going to make sure this treaty is uplifted. Well, what that mean? Sound bad for the United States of America, don't it? Sound real bad. Sound real bad. But what we looking at? We got a military? No. We ain't got no military starting off. That's 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 people. We ain't got that starting off. Come on, man. What? But what happens? Due process of law. Everything don't happen overnight. This is not our fight to fight, right? The so-called white people who think they are Americans gonna find out that the United States ain't real. And all of a sudden, they gonna say things like, which many of them are, I want the United States of America out of here. I want this government out of here. I'm tired of it. Democrat, Republican, I'm tired of both of you. Where's that leading them to? Back to Europe. So the fight, the people who set themselves up, what we need to fight for? Soldiers in front of stores and stuff. Whoa. You're the corporation, buddy. You're the corporation. It's the state ID. I know the lion is laying with the lamb right now. Yeah, that's because our government is not, it'll be dumb for us to just say, hey, we the Moroccan government, get out of here right now. When that's causing stress on all the officials of those government if not everything is in proper order. If we still ourselves have to build up, why we just say, oh, yeah, we want United States of America out of here, but why we put that stress on us and we not think that we gonna fall and just ask for help if we don't set up right. You see? So Noble Drew Ali said, what did he say? I'm gonna leave the Europeans here long enough, just long enough. He's not gonna leave them here entirely. Long enough, he's gonna leave them here long enough, just enough for you to learn government. Just enough. Just enough. You don't require a lot. Just enough. Just enough for you to learn government. You ain't gotta know everything. Just enough. Enough. So that means that with the knowledge and stuff, again, you don't have to, I gotta know it all. Just enough. You're gonna leave here just enough. From there, y'all gotta figure it out because common sense already kicked in by then. It ain't no I'm stressing about it. It's, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I can work for myself. Oh my goodness, I can work from the house. Oh my God. It's, oh my goodness. Y'all remember them stories? Y'all remember them Christopher Columbus stories? Oh my goodness, this year we ain't got Christopher Columbus in these stores, these schools, I mean. Oh my goodness, so much, oh my goodness, aha moments, I mean, all this stuff. Nothing but truly the first foundation of heaven reestablished on earth. We caught the first degrees at. And it's literally up to us to determine, if we're going to reestablish this government based on how developed we are and all this type of stuff. It's in our hands. It's in our hands. So, you can just read, Article 122, of course, and, it gives more instructions in which I'm doing a series over the active outer series. We haven't talked about this part yet, but the next part will be part 3. So we're gonna talk about everything, okay? Because this treaty was big. You know what I'm saying? So okay, that's cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as today's class. I am gonna make a part two to this sometime, not immediately, because I feel like a good enough has been said as far as doing business as an organization within their stuff. You know, in which again, if you already set yourself up, that don't mean just go ahead and destroy it all and stuff like that. Because everything you're doing right now, we're gonna prove how everything we doing, everything that's going on, is not only unlawful, but we want to tackle this from the head down and let it trickle down. So they're to be taken to court, right? After that, enforcement will come. That'll be the time to where which was coming soon. It's coming very soon. Very soon. Very soon. According to numerology, according to the talks of the Moorish State governments, it's all aligning. So things are gonna change on many different levels. But in order for it to change, because it's literally gonna be like this, you don't want to be. Oh, my fault. Okay, I'm about to wrap this up. But you don't want to be one of the Moors that's talking about statehood, and you got to put up with the effects of United States laws because you ain't got no people, and you getting jealous, so called, or some type of irritation because you see other Moors in their states enabled to exercise governments and heal those so-called pain points that was being used against them at one point in time. So, and that's what's going to be said. Noble Drew Ali said the Moors are going to be high up on the pinnacle. Well, that means it's going to be a big ass difference from the Moors who doing it the right way and the Moors who ain't doing it the right way. And that difference is going to be shown some way, somehow, in several different ways. So the truth need no defense. If you catch Moors trying to defend shit that ain't got no value, that's where we starting off right now, because that's all to show for it. But again, once certain things on certain documents, once the United States or United Nations, say certain things on their YouTube page, they got a YouTube page, they got judges and stuff like that, all saying things frequently. I was just on there watching one today. They make one every day. They got a lot of stuff about Ukraine and Russia right now that makes sense to a lot of people behind closed doors, because a lot of people don't study law. All you see is Russia and Ukraine, what the TV say. But you look at the United Nations, you be like, hold on. I know who the fake is. I know who the fake is now. But so we got to deal with the actual truthful systems so we can see everything clearly and we can pick apart the bullshit from that in every way. Who's not doing anything right, who's not saying anything right, who's not doing the process right. I don't care what you talking about. So we can pretty much conclude that with that, unless anybody else has any statements, any questions, comments, or anything like that. Okay. So I'll keep everybody in touch as far as who's a part of Moorish State Republic, Marcus. And as far as everybody else, I'll let everybody know when the next study session will be, which will be over the Act of Algeciras Part 3. All right. So with that being said, may Allah bless you all, and may you all have a good rest of the day. Islam.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem. Islam to y'all.